Okay, let's see what we can do here. I thought maybe I'd put a video up and give me my latest rant if I can. Hope somebody will listen for a change. I shouldn't say put it that way, but sometimes it's disturbing. You know, I've just got a small channel here, and I thoroughly believe in trying to help people that are down and out. I hate people that are being bullied. And if they've done something wrong, I don't mind it if they have to go through a court system to get what's coming to them, if in fact there's a problem. What I hate is when vigilantes come in and 24/7 attack and attack and attack. Those are the type of tactics that were used back in the late 30s by a guy named Hitler, if you will. And he did it against a whole race, not just a person. This person right here that I'm talking about, down there in Otter Creek, Florida, and Michelle has a daughter, 5-year-old daughter, and her ex is still with her ex-husband. Right now it's just their significant other, but they are co-owners of a little over an acre of ground in that little town, and they also have a turtle sanctuary, and it is a non-profit sanctuary, and they're doing their best to keep it up. I know you guys have heard things like what happened to Peanut the squirrel on there that went viral across the whole world, where these people, the squirrel and the raccoon, were taken away from them, and they were euthanized by the people in New York who think they know better about wild animals. And these people they run a sanctuary for animals up there, and they had the paperwork in on being able to care for wild animals as well. It had not been approved at this point, but still we're trying to. Now this squirrel they'd had for over 7 years, and they had it before they started the sanctuary, and they built a channel around it. Anyway, somebody apparently didn't like them and went after them, turned them in, and they lost probably one of their best friends they ever had was this little squirrel. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. But what about this couple in Otter Creek? And that's with 2 T's, not 2 D's. There's a millionaire there that's after Michelle and John. And both couples moved there in similar times. It's kind of a race of who was there or who looked at property first, and who cares? Who cares? It's what's at hand now that matters. But apparently they got into a dispute some time ago. I'm going to pull this down a little bit because it's too loud up close. And, if you have a lot of money and a lot of followers, over 700,000, the battles that you're going to get into, you're probably going to win it if you're the millionaire. And in the case down there, I would say so. And when I followed it, I looked at it, and at first I said, well, the millionaire has a good case here. And I looked at the people, and the presentation of the people wasn't that great. And, the description of the property out there, everything was one-sided because the millionaire was the only one really posting things. Well, as I followed along, then I had made some remarks that I thought he maybe had a split personality because there was a mean side to the things that he was saying about this person. And of course, that went over real big. And I did look at the background, and I didn't particularly care for the background that was behind this guy. But I'm going to let you decide on that, okay? You don't need my opinion about how I feel about that guy. I can just tell you, my opinion on it would not be good at all. And so then I had looked at Michelle and John, and I didn't really want to make a spontaneous opinion right away because, well, like I say, if you listen to the other guy long enough, he had actually he changed their names a little different, okay? And Michelle, her first name is Lynette. It's a pretty name. But he changed it to Lionette because it has a Y for the second letter, and he just says Lionette. So she lies all the time. Well, she's tried to defend herself, I can tell you that. And he makes a lot out of the fact that, well, look, it doesn't match up, it don't work out. She's a liar at every point. Well, on the main points, let's say that about the Child Protective Services, they've been called out there close to 30 times, no citations. They said that she was mistreating the child and it can't have the disease, she says, because they've had her out in public and they said she's behind, she can't hardly talk. Anyway, the disease that she has, paperwork was presented that shows that indeed she is doing everything right to take care of this child. Paperwork from a doctor that's been treating her the whole time that she's been there in Otter Creek. She's been accused of not having a working sewer. And in fact, she has a septic system that has been put in by a certified installer that meets all of the requirements of Florida and the county, in Levy County. Now, the whole town is on their own septics. So then they came along and said, well, it's not hooked up. Well, right now, until their house is finished, they're living in a travel trailer. And if you've ever had a travel trailer, you know that you have to let the tank of the black tank pretty much fill up before you pull the lever on it and let everything go out into the sewer. If you don't, all the solids end up right there in the tank and you plug it. You don't want to do that. And then after you do that, you have the other tanks, which are the gray water tanks with the sink water and the shower water, and you pull that lever and that kind of washes the line out. So they're not what you call hooked up 100% of the time. You can't leave them open. So, and it has full bathroom facilities. Now the property also has an outside shower as well. You know, you're talking Florida. But a lot of people have outside showers. Matter of fact, everybody that's got a pool will have an outside shower so they can get rid of the sand and water off before they go into the house. So, well, at least I would think they would. Now, I'm trying to give you my opinion on this thing because I have not walked the ground down there. And what I'm looking at is trying to think what is normal and what is outside of the box here. Now, Michelle seems like she's doing everything she's supposed to do. And John, I believe, is to, I think he tries to defend the property. And in fact, he spent 40 days in jail for doing just that. You see, in Florida, you have a stand your ground law that supposedly if somebody is bothering you, you have a right to defend it. They claimed that he pointed a weapon at him, and he said he never did point it at him. He carries it on him because he has undergone 24/7 threats to the property, to him, to Michelle, and part of the threats are they want to grab that little child away from him and take the child. Now, when people are after your children, you're going to do whatever it takes to defend them. That's That's what parents do. And, in fact, this millionaire started a GoFund to fund the biological aunt so she could get a lawyer to do just that, take this child and rip her away from the only mother that she has ever known since birth. You see, Michelle was able to take that baby home the minute it was born. She took guardianship, and 90 days later, she was awarded the full, everything that it takes for adoption. She has legal adoption papers. Okay. The millionaire says, no. Everybody out there now thinks that the papers are fake. They are not fake. It's the real deal, folks. It is a sealed adoption, by the way, and they tried to unseal it, and the lawyer that tried to do that was turned down. Now, that's the lawyer that is financed by the GoFundMe by the millionaire so that these people can take that child. By the way, the real mother and father, and I think one is still in jail, but they have problems with illicit things that you ingest. And in fact have many charges, felonious charges. And the previous children that they've had are being raised by that aunt. Doesn't sound like an environment that I think that a child should be in, but then that's just my opinion, you see. And when I found out how the things were over there, I thought, there's no way I would put a child into that, because it's already proven that hasn't worked well for the parents and all those other kids. I think there's 6 of them. And in fact, my understanding is that the mother, the birth mother, was going to try to abort that baby several times. So we're talking about a life that was saved by Michelle, and she would do anything to keep that child because she loves that child so much. Loved her before she was even born. Now this millionaire claims all kinds of stuff. Deteriorating health and among other things, because of all the stress and worry of whatever's going on. Well, the thing of it is, he's probably counting the mountains of money that he's piling up, in my opinion. You see, since this whole thing has started, he has a lot more subs and views, money coming in, and yet he claims he's losing money. The same guy spent on a Sunday Live, said, I need lots of money. I don't have any money. You need to give me more money. That way I can give more money. He said, it's my job to give money out. So give me money. Now, obviously, I'm not using exact words, but I'm just giving you the meaning of what come across the tube. The exact words are so demeaning that you wouldn't want to hear them. The same guy has attacked most of the townspeople. He seems to think that a lot of them are using these illicit type things that you take. I can't tell you what they really are because YouTube will take my channel down. So we don't want to do that. This this liberal system we live by doesn't always help the innocent, I can tell you right now. You're not allowed to tell the truth. You have to find words to get around it. For a weapon, you have to call it a pew-pew. Yeah. Or something. You can't call it what it really is. Now, Colt 45 seems to be able to do fine with it, but yeah. I think they demonetized him for it. The world we live in has changed a lot. People that want to tell the truth have a hard time doing it because our language has had to change to get the story out. And it's not fair. Well, as lopsided as it is, a little channel come out there, 2 Lees in a pod. And their followers, they have these huge hearts. And they went out there and they put some funding together so that Lynette, and I said it right, Lynette, okay, not Lynette, Lynette. But her name she goes by is Michelle. That's her middle name. And John needed a privacy fence. They just need it. They need to be able to react on their own property without these people going by, yelling at them all hours of the day and night. And they have that stuff on film, by the way. And accuse him of things, to keep John from having to go to jail again for defending his property, even though it is a stand your ground state. And it was dismissed because of lack of evidence. And the guy that had the GoFund to be able to come down there absconded with the money. Oh yeah, it's a story. Of course, I'll tell you what, this millionaire, he spins it so that it sounds different. But put it in your opinion. Follow the people out there. See who's got the good hearts and who's trying the best. And the other thing is, because of the tactics that are being used, I can't get behind that, right or wrong. Bully tactics have never been my cup of tea. I don't like people that do that. I don't make any bones about it. Obviously, as my opinion, of the tactics being called bully, and I say that because they're overwhelming and relentless, a daily almost thing. And about the time you get out there and everybody says it's daily, it kind of backs off for a few days or a week. And then it comes back on like a big wave. And lately it's been a rehash of things that are already out there because the people, they're getting tired of hearing it, and the people that are getting beat up are getting tired of being beat up by it, and they're trying to back off as much as they can. It's hard to defend yourself when everything you say or do is taken out of context, and then it's you attacking them. Instead of defending, you're attacking, it says. But if you follow it, you'll see that in fact, that's all they have been doing. John and Lynette have tried to defend themselves, and it's being called an attack. I tell you for certain, every time I put a video up talking about it, it gets attacked. And one thing for sure, I can prove it, I saved the names. The ones that were the worst. I didn't save everybody, but the ones that were the worst, that would not leave me alone, I saved the names. I just copied them off. It's no big deal. Anytime I feel like copying, I just hit the button and there it's there forever. I've been attacked for lawsuits, names, threats against my physical body, you name it. Everything you can think of. Now, I've been around enough. I'm not going to let a lot of that bother me, but I'm not going to let it go by either. I get sick and tired of that kind of people. There again, you're talking about a bunch of vigilantes. You believe that in this day and age? Who would have thought? Vigilantes. Oh, man. Well, anyway, it's my opinion that we have so many of them out there that John and Lynette don't have a chance without some people getting behind them. And that's what I'm asking. If you believe in the American way, if you believe the downtrodden should be lifted up a little bit and given a chance, if you believe people that are trying very hard, that they need that extra hand to come up, follow my channel, follow Two Lees in a Pod. Let your voice be heard. You know something? Not everybody is perfect in this world, and they can't be. But we can have the heart to try to help people and get them to that step. If we spend as much time helping somebody out as we do knocking them down, just think how much better this world would be. I just wonder if we'd have anybody on the street anymore. We don't need to be on the attack of everybody out there. And yes, I know that half the world is mad at the other half. Right here in the United States, half the people are mad at the other half, especially after an election. Lord help us, this is the United States. We're the horn of plenty in the world. And we go out there and we take an individual citizen like that and we make it so they can't go to the post office, they can't go get groceries. They can't go out in their backyard without being yelled and screamed at. They are photographed around the clock in their place. And if they go for groceries, these people are following them. If they're already there, there is a protection order against John and Michelle. And they have to leave, period. It doesn't matter if they're there first or not. They cannot stay. If these people follow them into the post office, they better get. And it has happened more than once. It's a town of 100. They all have to go to the post office. They're not allowed to live their life. John was walking down the public road. He had just had a knee operation. He was using a walker. The millionaire come up behind him in his truck, drove slow, put a phone out there, took a video of him, and said, 10 feet, John, 10 feet, 10 feet. He turned it in to the judge in Ohio because that's where this protection order was out. He couldn't get a protection order in Florida, so he got it in Ohio and had it transferred to Florida. They found John guilty of violating the protection order. You tell me how you can live to what that judge put on that protection order. When you live in a town of 100, you have to get your mail from the post office because they don't deliver to your door. They will not deliver to your door. They go to the grocery store in the next town. Now you tell me how them people know that they're on their way to that store and how they show up. The last time, or not the last time they bought groceries, but a time or two before that, they had to get a hold of the sheriff's department so they could escort them in that store so that they could keep their groceries. They had a guy in California that follows the millionaire on this thing. And while on air, he called the Child Protection Services. Or at least he said so on here now. Why would somebody in California, on the word of somebody else, do that? You tell me. I mean, how does that stuff happen? I don't know. It's way out of hand. I mean, this thing, there's people from around the world that are involved in this thing now. So here is a couple, and it won't, let me tell you something. It wouldn't matter whether they're right or wrong. You cannot take this kind of a beating 24/7, that long a time. This is inhuman. Please don't let it go on. Please don't. Lord, if you're listening, do whatever you can to stop this travesty. These people, they need your helping hand. Please give them the fortitude to survive this beating that's coming from these vigilantes from around the world. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. I probably could say I could be on here all day, but I, I've tried over and over and over to get people to listen to me on this. And I pray about it on a daily basis, trying to help somebody out on this. And reach out, you got to pray for people like the two Lees in the pod, because they've taken this thing up and they've looked at both sides and they're bringing up proof, and they can't get through either because these people are blind. They can't hear. Their hearts are closed. The vigilantism has gotten so far out of hand that nobody can look through and say, hey, it's time to back off. It's time to let the law take its course. Let's get out of here. If it wasn't for some of the small channels, I don't know what would have happened to them already. Their funding is cut off from just about everything. They used to get free food from the grocery store, and the guy went to the grocery store. They're no longer allowed to go dumpster diving. I looked on here to see if there's a lot of people that do it. Every single place that has a town with a grocery store has dumpster divers out there on anything that's an open dumpster. All these retail stores have dumpsters, and there's people out there with channels like this one, and they're dumpster diving, and they're making money off the channel as well as what they pull from the dumpster. They're trying to recycle stuff, and on a daily basis, we're trying to find out how to recycle. And instead, this millionaire was able to talk to the store, and as far as they're concerned, John and Michelle were stealing, even though an employee told them to go ahead and take this stuff because he thought, hey, it's better that some animals can have it rather than throw it in a dump. And that's my feeling about it. But the store director or manager fired the guy. The millionaire got his way, and John and Michelle no longer can get food that goes to the dump is no longer fed to animals to keep them alive. Now the funding has to come out of their pockets. They're on disability. This is a turtle sanctuary. If we can get 3 million people following the dilemma of a squirrel, why can't we get somebody to follow Michelle and John and get this thing out into the light of the day? People with hearts can help bring them up. If they need help if you don't think they're normal, then go help them be normal. That is my opinion. I don't want anybody to suffer. That is not in my heart. I don't want my worst enemy to go through that stuff. I don't. Please go over there to 2 Lees in a Pod. See how they put this together, because they told both sides. If you follow them far enough, you're going to see the real truth on this thing. These people are accused of pooping in a bucket. Oh, gee. And in fact, the millionaire had people that came to his place, and the sewer wouldn't take the amount of guests he had there, and they had to shit in the bucket too. Oh, Lord. It makes you want to cry. Oh, yeah. This guy. Oh. Yeah, he can cry on cue on his tooth. Oh, Lord. My opinion is we need to quit beating up on Michelle and John. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it, they say. But it's as I see it. This is the way I see it. And I'm hoping you see it my way as well. I hope you go over there and spread the word. Help this couple out. Let's get this thing settled. Right or wrong, one way or the other, let's get this thing settled. The suffering needs to end. Well, I hope you have a good day out there, and I hope you open up your heart and your eyes, and I hope you listen with your ears. Pray for these people. You don't have to dig deep in your pocket. Pray for them. But if you feel like helping them out financially, do it. Don't just sit on your butt and do nothing. Vigilantism has never worked in this country. Well, please have a good day out there. And pray, please.